Howdy, 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 my name's Anachi Sasuke. Welcome back to Let's Read the SCP Foundation Wiki. I don't know how long it's been since the last episode. I can assure you it wasn't supposed to be this long, but as such, I'm not 100% sure where we left off. I remember the shadow play and the white dog, so I'm thinking we're supposed to be starting at human remote drones. So, they're Euclid. SCP-1116 1 through 6 and 8 are to be kept in individual 5x5x3 meter containment cells at site someplace. Each cell is to be shielded against radio frequency transmissions of up to blank watts transmissive power, with frequencies ranging from blank those megahertz to gigahertz. I was going to say megahertz, and I was like, wait, is that the right word? Am I stupid? I don't know. But all electronic monitoring and communications equipment must be hardwired with shielded cabling. No wireless communication devices are permitted within blank meters of any instance of 1116. Site blank is to maintain on hot standby 2 frequency agile RF jamming devices of at least blank kilowatts output, to be activated in case of containment breach by 1116. No specimen of 1116 is permitted above ground at any time unless fully enclosed in a container with the specified shielding. Line of sight to the sky must be blocked at all times. Each cell is to contain one chair constructed of a non-metallic, non-conductive materials, secured to the floor and equipped with mechanical restraints and waste disposal facilities, as well as 3 wide-spectrum RF antennas connected to software-defined radio receiving equipment. All recorded radio transmissions from 1116 specimens are to be forwarded to Site Blank for analysis. Specimens are to be fed 3 times daily with processed food only. Use of restraints during feeding is mandatory. Specimens must be led through calisthenics 2 times daily using vocal command. See Schedule 1116C blank for approved exercises and document 1116B blank for known command phrases and current macros. Cells are not to be opened during exercises. Remotely operated audio equipment is to be utilized, hardwired, and shielded as per above specification. All testing of 1116 specimens is to take place either within the specimen's own containment cell or within a testing chamber shielded to the same specification. Transport between containment cell and testing chamber is to take place under armed guard, with the specimen restrained and both RF jamming devices activated. During transport and testing, all verbal interactions between researchers and or security staff are to be confirmed by hand signal. See Addendum 1116-1. The remains of 7 are to be kept in cold storage at Bio-Research Area 12 for further analysis. Alright then, description. SCP-1116 is a group of used to be 8, but now it's 7 humanoids of varied race and gender, with apparent ages between 20 and 35. All initially appear to suffer from catatonic stupor, including symptoms of catalepsy, whatever. Specimens will swallow food and water when placed into their mouths, but will not chew. Specimens will remain in a given position when physically manipulated into said position. Specimens will attempt to maintain homeostasis, including sweat, pupil dilation, and fluctuations in respiratory and heart rate, but will not detectably react to pain stimuli, including heat, pressure, or puncture, sexual stimuli, including both displayed images and manual stimulation, or environmental threats, including extreme cold, extreme heat, starvation, dehydration, or large predator animals. 1116 specimens show no evidence of volition, but will respond to a limited number of verbal commands, e.g. sit, stand, raise right arm, and can remember a sequence of commands for later execution when preceded by a macro phase. See document 1116B blank for more details. This command vocabulary is extremely narrow, however, including only references to gross motor functions, simple counting, and a small number of basic spatial relations. CT scans of SCP-1116 revealed specimens to possess less than 10% of the expected neural mass, with the remaining cranial volume occupied by cerebrospinal fluid. Embedded in the outer layer of the skull is a mesh of metallic filaments composed of an alloy of silver blank %, zinc blank %, and redacted blank %, and forming a pattern closely resembling a blank iteration box fractal. 1116 specimens appear to use this mesh layer as a radio antenna and will transmit blank to blank times per hour on blank different frequencies. Energy for these transmissions appears to derive from normal metabolic processes, but the specific mechanism for generating the required current has not yet been identified. The only vocalizations from specimens to date, excepting incident I-1116-23 see below, have been low-volume atonal singing noises corresponding to periods of radio transmission. Cryptographic analysis of outbound transmissions is ongoing, Current evaluations indicate they are likely connection requests using an unknown protocol. Apologies. Addendum 1116-1. After the events of Incident 23, it has been determined that the cranial antenna of an 1116 specimen can be used to produce localized pockets of heated air, creating sound waves audible only to individual personnel. Multiple survivors of Incident 23 claimed they heard orders which were determined never to have been given, contributing to and prolonging the containment breach of 7. Containment procedures have been updated accordingly. Alright, so what happened? On blank blank 2000 something at site blank, during transport from cell to testing chamber, 7 accessed a laptop left 100 and something meters away with its wireless networking enabled, and through it circumvented site blank network security. Audio recordings indicate that, coincident with the network breach, subject made a brief singing sound and then proceeded to become active and breach containment, resulting in the deaths of blank researchers and blank security personnel, as well as subjects escaped from the facility. Subject was re-engaged blank point blank kilometers away after an additional blank minutes and was fatally wounded in the ensuing firefight. Transmissions did not fully cease, however, until subject's cranium was destroyed. Forensic analysis of the network breach has yet to determine the full extent of the compromised data, but given the blank band frequency emissions detected from subject for the duration of its time on the surface, estimates put the total data leakage at up to blank 100 gigabytes. Okay then, so it sounds like they were bringing the SCP back to its cage, and it latched onto the Wi-Fi of the laptop and then just became active from the internet? Ooh. The feasting table. It's also Euclid. SCP-1117-1 is to be stored in a standard secured vault at site blank. Under no circumstances are personnel to be permitted to enter the chamber or interact with it. Cases of SCP-1117-3 produced by accidental exposure or testing are to be placed into isolation with minimal contact. SCP-1117-1 is a wooden dining room table 90 centimeters long by 150 centimeters wide by 75 centimeters tall. Testing indicates that it is approximately 70 years old and has shown no unusual preservative properties. One is laden with a wide variety of food and drink designated 2. When consumed by subjects, it is rapidly replaced, though the exact contents of the table are not consistent. Analysis has been unable to find a pattern. Dishes and products from cultures all over the world have been observed. Subjects display great enjoyment during the meal. Testing has revealed that it is possible to remove dishes from the table and serve them elsewhere with the same results. Subjects unaware of the food's origin still describe it as very tasty. Any who have consumed food or drink from one become subject to a secondary effect. These individuals, designated as 3, have the ability to cause 2 to spontaneously appear whenever they feel hungry. Subjects display great reluctance to consume anything other than the food they find, remarking that nothing else tastes as good. The effect can be spread if 3 share 2 with other individuals. Aside from these effects, the found food is indistinguishable from normal food. The side effects of 1117 exposure only appear after roughly a week. Individuals with active lifestyles are affected notably faster, demonstrating the effects after only a few days. Subjects have described a steady decrease in energy levels and become easily fatigued. Continued consumption of 2 increases the effects. Between 3 and 6 weeks after initial exposure, subjects apparently die from a lack of energy or from theoretically harmless contagions. No unusual physiological effects have been noted, and autopsies have proved largely inconclusive, with no signs of damage consistent with previously studied energy-draining phenomena. Forcing 3 to ingest food other than 2 after the effects have begun to show has induced extreme nausea and fatal cardiac arrhythmia in all cases. Autopsy have shown severe depletion of phosphates, magnesium, and calcium to be a significant contributing factor, although the cause of these deficiencies is unclear. Given the SCP's ability to spread rapidly, one has been declared off-limits. Field agents are advised to be alert to any signs of 1117 exposure in the general population. Addendum. Lock it up. Research is going nowhere, and this thing is clearly of no use to us. Just keep watching out for signs of infection in the general population. There could be a major epidemic if it gets out. This whole project has been thoroughly depressing. We get enough routine deaths around here without testing inexplicable ones. At least the bodies take up less room. Dr. Blank. Summum. It's safe, whatever it is. Is it going to tell us what the piece of paper says? Okay, yeah, it is. So, SCP-1118-1 is to be locked in a safe class inanimate object container at Storage Site 5. Sets of 2 are to be kept in separate locked safe boxes at the same facility. Following Incident 1118/I/551201:R, and due to the inherent difficulties in tracking related events, only 2D is to be used in testing procedures. Alright. SCP-1118-1 is a heavily modified Adler brand typewriter, favorite model, serial number 466442, manufactured in 1935 by the Adler Schreibmaschinen Company in Frankfurt, Germany. Yeah. A small brass plaque mounted on the underside of 1118-1 bears the following inscription: Ossummum HH 1937. This has been stenciled over in white paint with whatever that says. GRU Division P, which seems to be its own link. All of one's factory key tops have been detached, and 31 of its keys have been modified to accept a set of 2. One's type bars have been removed and replaced with metacarpals and proximal phalanges from 24 unknown donors. These have been fused together by an unknown process to achieve the necessary shape. As these type bars do not contain type elements, striking a key will not cause any symbol to be transferred to any paper inserted into one. 2 are sets of 31 human molars. Their surface is filed down to permit labeling with an unremarkable black ink, the exact composition of which varies between sets. 2 contain all 26 letters of the Latin alphabet, as well as a spacebar, period, comma, exclamation mark, and question mark. Chemical analysis of the ink used on 2 sets and comparison to reference samples provides an approximate time of manufacturing. An instance of 2 is attuned to a specific target through a ritual procedure as documented in Supplemental Procedure 1118/D/A-X-14Z3. It's footnote 3. Please note that any attempt to carry out this procedure is subject to inquiry by the Ethics Committee. Wait, what was footnote number 1? I saw footnote number 2. Where's footnote number 1? Oh, it's on the picture. Special Operations Executive. Let's see. These mimeographed, mimeographed? It's probably monographed. Duplicates were recovered with 1. The originals are presumed lost. Molars used in the fabrication of 2 sets only need to be whole and devoid of cavities. No further requirements exist. When a full set of 2 is mounted on one's keyboard, any words typed out on 1118 will be vocalized by one's target. Note that keys from different 2 sets are not interchangeable. While an operator's typing speed might be variable, targets are able to form intelligible and coherent speech from this input. It is not currently known how targets manage this. As tests have shown, a target's physiological state is not a factor in this process, and speech has been recorded from test subjects not anatomically equipped to produce it. It is currently unclear how 1118 induces vocalizations in these targets. Vocalizations made through 1118 can also influence a target's behavior, though it is unknown whether there are limits to this. Note that if a target is deceased, vocalizations that would otherwise influence behavior will have no effect. Living targets of 1118 will perceive anomalous vocalizations as appropriate and logical, and will become agitated if confronted with the discordance of their speech. Please refer to Psychological Evaluation Log 1118P930627:A for a behavioral study both pre- and post-event of test subjects assigned to 1118. Listeners are not subject to this effect and can easily discern speech that might be characterized as out of character for the speaker. 3 complete sets of 2 were recovered and designated A through C. The nominal documentation retrieved with 1 confirms the targets for 2A and 2B. The target set of 2C has not been identified as of yet. Set 2D was created for testing purposes. See document all of that jazz for the official sanction by the Ethics Committee. It is possible that more complete sets of 2 exist outside of Foundation control. 1 was recovered with an additional 14 loose molars collectively referred to as 3. While instances of 3 have been modified in a fashion similar to A through C, they are missing the necessary mounting material to be used in conjunction with 1. Instances of 3 appear to be significantly older than those in currently known 2 sets. Their labeling has deteriorated severely, but seems to contain markings in elder Futhark? No documentation exists detailing 3's role, but it's theorized that 3 inspired the creation of 1 and 2. Addendum 1. Information on 2 and respective targets. Set A from 1946 to 1950. Former President Harry S. Truman. B was former British Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain. C, unknown. And set D was made in 1992, and that disposable person is deceased now. It is unknown whether A and C have successfully been used to influence U.S. politics. Addendum A2, excerpts from Incident Report R. On December 1st, 1955, or it might be January the 12th, 1955, at 20 hours 16 at 21, blank, a personal aide to former President Truman, placed a call to the latter's personal physician, one Dr. Blank, expressing concern that his employer was having a seizure of some kind. During the call, Truman could be heard vocalizing this in the background. Excerpts appear here. This is a test. This is a test. Maxim says this works. Nothing is happening. Why is nothing happening? I am bored. Why can I not type in Russian? I think it was something I ate. I will go to bed now. Good night. A full transcript of the call is available in the unexpurgated version of this incident report. Full research into the historical context for this incident is pending. Addendum 3. Selected chronology of 1 related event/sightings. Okay, November 3rd, 1938. Sources within the SOE begin suspecting British Prime Minister Chamberlain to be under foreign influence. Investigation focused on bribery, blackmail, and other traditional methods of manipulation. 28th of that same month, that same year, no evidence of manipulation found. However, elements embedded in the Nazi Party warned the SOE about occult activity centered around the remote manipulation of key British political elements. February 28th of the following year, photographs surface of 1118. A group of men is posing with it. Several wearing white lab coats and labels stitched to the breast. One is the swastika, the other date expunged, eradicated in 1945 during the fall of Berlin. Heinrich Himmler is seen sitting in front of 1118 with his face turned to the camera. June 14th of that year, Chamberlain's speech is analyzed for discrepancies, 1118 believed to be a factor in politics of appeasement. There's a notable lack of 1118 related event sightings between 1939 and 1945. Efforts to retrieve and contain it are sabotaged by these operatives, both within and outside of the Foundation. In September the 22nd, 1945, sighting confirmed by the operatives in Berlin, GRU Division P, personnel working under Red Army jurisdiction believed responsible for removal of 1118 from the Hindler residence. October of that year, Foundation operative Redacted manages to intercept before it is transported to Russia. The next day, they were presumed KIA, considered lost. December of 10 years later, former U.S. President Truman displayed signs been under the influence. 1982, during a CIA operation Redacted, an item matching the description is found in an itemized shipping list for a freight train heading for Moscow, can't be located. 10 years later, in March, Redacted, former GRU Division P operative, makes contact with Foundation operatives in the CIA and offers to surrender 1118 in return for asylum. A few weeks after that, after disembarking on U.S. soil, Redacted is taken into Foundation custody, and 1118 is recovered from his luggage. Containment of it is achieved. The briefing of Redacted reveals little relevant operational knowledge of GRU Division P, though the intelligence gathered leads to the further retrieval and containment of several other objects. Groups of interest. Division P. The factory? Or the Fifth Church? Dr. Wondertainment. The factory. So it's somebody who worked for the factory or the Fifth Church? Well, what does the bottom say? GRU Division P. Which goes where? SCP 1011, the hub. What is this? I don't know. Not important. No touchy. Which is also Euclid. So we had one safe thing that doesn't sound safe, but it's probably just safe because it's a typewriter. And then a few Euclid things so far. SCP-1119 is to be contained in an M-type humanoid anomaly containment cell hack at Site-53. In the event, personnel need to enter the cell there to wear level C hazmat suits to avoid skin-to-skin contact. All requests made by 1119 are to be screened and allowed or denied as per standard Euclid-class humanoid containment protocol. Barring express permission by at least one member of attached Level 3 research staff, 1119 is not allowed to leave its cell. Description: SCP-1119 is a Caucasian male, age 54, measuring 174.3 centimeters and weighing 154.6 kilograms. X-ray scans and exploratory surgery of their body have yielded several anomalous findings. Evidence exists of absorption of tissues and organs belonging to other sentient beings by their body. This resembles twin embolization syndrome, although this has never been shown to occur outside of the uterus. 1119 has been found to have 2 human eyeballs attached to the interior of the medial lobe of the right lung. In addition, they carry several superfluous organs and miscellaneous tissues, including a kidney, 2 spleens, a gallbladder, 2 tubes, and approximately 3.4 meters of small intestine, all of which are stored in the abdominal cavity. These organs and tissues are connected to 1119's body by a network of small blood vessels so that atrophy or necrosis of absorbed material is prevented. DNA tests on samples taken have shown tissues present belong to at least 15 separate individuals, both male and female. None of these could be reliably traced, though one was shown to be similar enough to 1119's own DNA to assume a direct genetic relation. Tests have shown that skin-to-skin contact with 1119 will initiate the absorption process. Once contact has been made, cells in the epidermis of 1119 bond with those in the victim's skin and absorb them. The process appears to be irreversible and can only be halted by amputation or excision of connected tissues. 1119 shows signs of severe stress when absorption occurs, while victims appear to enter a coma-like state within 2 to 5 seconds of initiation of absorption. It is currently unknown what causes this state. Total absorption takes approximately 10 minutes per kilogram of tissue. This process seems to move around any non-organic matter it finds, leaving any such article behind after it completes. Note that although absorption of victims is complete, 1119's body mass does not increase correspondingly. It is currently unknown how 1119's body processes absorbed tissues. They do not appear to retain any characteristics, memories, or personality traits of those absorbed. 1119 has exhibited relief at being held for research by the Foundation, but does suffer from severe clinical depression. Treatment has been started using counseling and medication, 50 milligrams of fluvoxamine, oral dose 1 time every day. 1119 is extremely uncomfortable around others and will not usually initiate any form of contact. Genealogical research has revealed 1119's father to have been deceased since blank 19 something, and his mother to have been deceased, not decreased, since blank 2000 something. 1119 is referred when pressed to his life as extremely sheltered. Addendum A1. Recovery and Preliminary Containment Notes. 1119 came to the Foundation's attention when it attempted to commit suicide by jumping from the blank bridge. Despite clear warnings by 1119, a police officer grabbed his hand and was partially absorbed in full view of the public. The resulting 911 calls were intercepted and a containment team was sent out. Emergency Airborne Class A amnesties were administered to all involved, and 1119 was taken to Site 53 for evaluation. Broadcasts of footage taken at the site were disrupted and all evidence was confiscated and destroyed as per guideline HM/GD all that. Addendum 2. SCP-1119 has shown limited regenerative qualities following Incident 1. Further research is warranted. Dr. Aeslinger. Just a formality. It's weird that they have their own thing. And that brings us to Freeze Tag, which is also Euclid. Okay, each instance of 1120 is to be contained in a standard size containment cell in the B500-B600 cell block of Containment Area 56. The bricks comprising the wall, ceiling, and floor of the cells are to be constructed from a mixture of 3 parts ground human bone to 2 parts industrial cement. 1 armed guard is to be posted to every group of 5 cells in the block. In the event that 1120 becomes active and breaches containment, personnel are advised to implement Procedure 1120 Epsilon. Under no circumstances should a living human be permitted to touch an instance of 1120. At the time of this writing, all 100 known instances are in Foundation custody. However, in the likely event that a museum exhibition featuring 1 or more instances of 1120 is discovered, all instances are to be immediately acquired and replaced with plaster replicas. If this is not possible, 1 or more members of MTF Delta 6 Vestal Virgins are tasked with integrating themselves into museum staff, maintaining surveillance, and preventing the creation of instances of 1 by whatever means necessary. All new instances of 1 are to be treated as instances of 1120 and contained accordingly. Description: SCP-1120 is the collective name for a number of human skeletons encasing what appears to be pyroclastic igneous rock. Although exposed bone may be shattered and destroyed by conventional means, the epidermal rock layer encasing 1120 has been shown to be incredibly resistant to damage. It is believed that this is a property of 1120 rather than the rock itself, as rock samples appear to lose their anomalous properties once removed from 1120. Laboratory tests on epidermal stone fragments removed from 1120 have identified tephric matrix substructure consistent with that of non-anomalous ignimbrites, though whether or not this accurately reflects the internal petrology of 1120 is unknown. Instances vary in a manner consistent with human stature. Most ages and genders appear to be represented. Several instances of 1120 are approximately the size of a prepubescent human children. Instances of 1120 are animate, though whether they are sapient has yet to be determined. At current time, all instances are in a dormant state. It is not known what will cause them to become active, as this has only occurred blank time since their entry into Foundation custody. Upon entering an active state, an instance of 1120 will patrol the surrounding area and attempt to seek out a living human subject. If it locates a suitable human subject, it will immediately charge and attempt to grab them. Instances of 1120 exhibit inhuman strength and have been observed to break through cinder block walls and destroy sizable pieces of urban infrastructure while in pursuit. However, pursuit is not singular. Upon spotting another closer subject, 1120 will adjust its course in order to pursue the more proximal target. Coordinated personnel teams can easily exploit this fact to herd instances into appropriately designed or designated containment facilities, a process referred to in documentation as Procedure 1120 Epsilon. If any part of a subject's skin comes into contact with 1120, it will immediately cease pursuit. Upon contact, the subject, hereafter referred to as 1, will enter a state of paralysis, remaining frozen in the position in which they were last touched. The instance that initiated contact will assume a supine position and return to a dormant state. Over the course of the next 3 minutes, all skin, muscle, and organ tissue with the crown of the belonging to 1 will transmute into igneous rock, beginning with the soles of the feet and ending with the crown of the head. The process is assumed to be extremely painful. Scans of subjects undergoing transformation have indicated immense nerve damage and severe internal bleeding prior to the completion of the process. However, all bone matter, including marrow, remains unaffected by the transmutation. This feature extends to bone that has been removed from the body. 1120 is unable to break or shatter human bone in any manner or capacity. The source of this limitation remains unknown. Discovery: 20 instances of 1120 were discovered in the Blank Museum of Natural History on October the 12th, 1970-something. Foundation listeners responded to a call on a local police blotter reporting stone men terrorizing museum goers. Foundation personnel, disguised as police reinforcements, arrived on the scene, and after several hours were ultimately able to corral and subdue all instances of 1120. Several city blocks were destroyed in the process, and blank casualties were recorded. Class B amnestics were distributed via chemtrail, and a cover story about an earthquake was disseminated to local news media. 11 other instances were unearthed by an archaeological dig team and redacted on March the 6th, 1980-something. Though the specimens remained dormant throughout the excavation, the careless actions of the dig team resulted in the creation of blank more instances of 1120. Reports quickly reached nearby civilians and, in turn, Foundation operatives. 1120 was contained without incident. The remaining instances were discovered and data expunged. It is highly likely that these are not the only instances that remain concealed in this way. Operatives are advised to be watchful and exercise great caution. Addendum A. The following piece of graffiti was discovered scrawled on the wall of the blank in Pompeii. It is believed that it was left by an agent of a primitive group functioning as a precursor to the current Foundation, though archaeological evidence for this remains scant. There are so many of them. We cannot outrun them. They must be contained before the stone plague spreads any further. It has already made it to Herculaneum. There is no time. To anyone who reads this, get out while you can. I go now to provoke the wrath of Vesuvius, in the hope that a cloud of ash will bury them forever. May the gods watch over me. Okay, I was thinking that they were creatures caused by a volcanic eruption, but it looks like somebody caused a volcanic eruption to try to stop the creatures. Interesting. Well, that about does it for this episode of Let's Read the SCP Foundation Wiki. In the next one, we're going to check out the skinning disease, the House of Tomorrow, Atrocity Skull, Xenoplague, and Answer Dice. So that whole episode sounds like it's going to be a nightmare of strange things that body parts aren't supposed to do. That being said, if you like this video, a like and a subscribe will be groovy. If you didn't, you don't need to do either one of those things. If you'd like to click the bell, you can do that as well so that you're notified of future uploads. And I will see y'all in the next one. Later.